For the next half hour, we're chatting with Smithtown Supervisor Patrick Vecchio, the record-setting supervisor. Take a look at the longest presiding supervisor in New York State history. You can bet he's got plenty to say. Let's find out all about it right now on MTL. Hi, I'm Pat Halpin, and welcome to Meet the Leaders, getting you to the heart of local government right here and right now with Smithtown Supervisor Patrick Vecchio. Supervisor Vecchio, it's great to have you back on Meet the Leaders. You are the longest serving supervisor in Suffolk and New York State's history.
Yes.
You were first elected what year?
1977. I took office 1978.
1977, 1978. So you have, part of the job of being supervisor is that you're the chief executive of the town. You're also the chief budget officer.
True.
And you just presented your 2013 budget to the town board for their consideration. The board and you are actively working through that tentative budget. How hard is it these days to balance the books and deliver the services to the people of Smithtown as compared to prior years?
In all the years I've been there, this is the toughest budget I ever had to deal with.
Why?
Well, there's a legislative act that imposes a 2% cap on a tax levy, and 2% cap on what we normally levy in taxes is not very much money.
Right.
So it kind of eliminates lots of things you need to do or want to do, and that makes it very tough. So,
now you are very frugal. To be polite.
Cheap is another word.
Cheap. I mean, I'm your personal life, but when it comes to town spending, Smithtown town spending is as low as any town around on a per capita basis. Absolutely. I mean, you scrutinize everything. So money is not being wasted there. But at the end of the day, you still have to pave the roads.
Yes.
You have to provide the essential services, planning, zoning, all those things, code enforcement, recreation. And you've got to pay the bills you get from the state, like pension costs that are going up at astronomical rates. How do you do that within a 2% cap?
Well, that's difficult. But let me go back to what you said. One can be frugal and still deliver the services in a very good way. I'm not a guy that believed in fluff, or still don't. And so if you stay within the parameters of what you're supposed to deliver, then taxes will be tolerable. And that has always been my mantra. And I think that people in government ought to treat the money as if it were their own, and not spend it because somebody has a concept or an idea.
Well, now everybody knows property taxes are high on Long Island.
Yes.
There's no question about that. But when it comes to the town portion of your tax bill, you don't get people calling you up saying, why are my taxes so high? They're very low. That's
fact. It's the percentage of the tax bill is about 10.5% for a town, or at least Smithtown, maybe 13 or 14 for the police, 65 to 70 for the school, and you have assorted districts like the fire district and an ambulance district. Right. And so those are the other facets of that go into a tax levy.
So your budget that you proposed this year for all of your accounts, all of the things that you're responsible for, is $103 million.
Yes.
And there is a small increase of $46. Think about that over the course of 52 weeks.
Right.
It's less than $1 a week.
Yes.
And it's tax deductible. How are you able to balance that budget?
Well, over the years,
because you had big increases in your pension costs.
But let's go back to what I said previous. I think if government is not wasteful on concepts, ill-advised ideas, requests, then it will be able to husband resources.
Right.
And over the years, now I'm very proud of the fact Smithtown has the lowest debt of any municipality in all of Long Island, including the counties. So having done that, keeping the debt down, we've kept some reserves, okay? We've spent out of reserves for capital projects rather than borrow.
Which means that instead of borrowing the money, you're able to use your bank account to pay
Exactly.
for those things on a cash basis.
No different than a family who knows that the washing machine is going to go bad in a year and saves its money to pay for it.
Right.
And so we've done that over the years, and all town boards have been very cooperative on budgets I've produced. However, this year what made it particularly difficult was that this 2% cap that was imposed by Albany. It sounds good. It certainly gives politicians in Albany cover, saying we've capped property taxes, but on the local level, makes it very, very difficult to achieve. If I can explain it, so for example, the levy this year is 54 million. 2% of that is $1,800,000.
Right.
$1,080,000. You get a 10% increase in hospitalization of 800,000. You only have 600,000 less
For everything else.
for everything else. So,
And what about your pension costs? Those go
yeah,
up.
and part of pension costs are in the cap, not all of them
Right.
are. But nonetheless, you could see that I don't think the 2% cap is sustainable. And I feel particularly put upon because over the years we have been very frugal and still delivered very good services to the people.
Now, the towns benefited enormously during the real estate boom where you're able to collect more mortgage
Yes.
recording taxes. I don't mean to have this become so technical that people will get bored, but I think it's important to know where the money comes from. It comes from fees, it comes from property taxes, and some mortgage recording taxes. Those revenues, mortgage recording taxes, have gone way down. You're probably getting what as compared to
Well,
before?
I think somewhere in 2004 we were getting 11 million.
Yeah.
But once again, there's a responsibility of those who lead and have the responsibility of producing a budget is not to overestimate. So each year from that 11, I've continually dropped that, and we've met that every year.
So
This
in other
year-
words, you didn't have a deficit in your budget because you overestimated
Correct.
those revenues.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I hear other government officials say, "Oh, we didn't get the revenues from the mortgage tax," well, yeah, you didn't because you overestimated the number.
Yeah, and all you have to do is read the paper to know that the real estate economy,
Yep.
thanks to the national recession and the banking meltdown,
Yeah.
took a big hit.
Sure.
But you didn't. You also put that money away in reserves when you got
Yes,
more than
exactly.
you had anticipated.
We used let's look at it as extra money, so to speak.
Right.
Some of it we bought capital projects rather than borrow, and the rest went into the bank. And that's how we were able to produce budgets that are tolerable. Sometimes there's no tax increase. Sometimes you reference $46. Well, if we didn't have reserves to balance the expenses against the income, we would have a huge tax increase.
I'm watching, and listening to the approach that you've taken in Smithtown over the years. And, basically, as I'm thinking about it, you've done everything you can to hold your costs to either at or below inflation, save money when you had more than you had anticipated as opposed to just spending it all in 1 year. But I also see what happens to a government where in Iceland you have a new supervisor walked in, the budget was in deficit. He's actually cut spending on a year-to-year basis, but because there are no reserves left,
yes.
he has a pretty big increase in the town taxes, over 60%. Nobody's happy about them. Sure, he's not. Nobody runs for office to say, hey, the first thing I want to do is raise taxes. I could speak from experience.
Yes, I know that.
But
yes.
that said, you have to look at this over time, and I don't think enough public officials do that as they think about their budgets from year to year.
Well, I don't think that most public officials think that they're going to be in office that long. They have other goals to reach or other offices to try to achieve. So it's kind of short term for them, and they'll spend what they need to spend to keep getting elected in the current office.
Right. So your budget has to be adopted by the end of November.
Yes.
How do things look? What are some of the things that the town board is looking at with you as the tentative budget is just that, it's a working document.
Correct.
So there'll be changes and modifications. What do you
Well,
think it's going to look like
I
at
don't
the
know
end?
about that because
Okay.
the town board advertised my budget for the public hearing. So it seemed to me that they don't have any great ideas about changing. They're well aware of the tax cap. They are well aware of what we had to do to achieve that minimal $46 tax increase.
Okay. So with that, you'll be able to maintain town services.
Oh, yeah, there'll be no cuts in service.
Your
No.
credit rating will stay real strong.
Absolutely.
And your budget will be balanced.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to take
By law.
By law. Well, people say they balance their budget, but you and I both know that isn't always what happens. All right, Meet the Leaders will be back in 90 seconds.
The Terry Farrell Firefighters Fund doesn't have a telethon. It's not about being in the spotlight. It's about giving support to the firefighters who serve our communities. The fund was established in memory of Terry Farrell, a decorated member of Rescue 4 FDNY who perished on 9/11. The fund ensures that firefighters and first responders have the resources they need to protect the public. And the fund assists families of firefighters faced with medical emergencies. Won't you help? Please visit terryfund.org.
Building girls of courage, confidence, and character who make the world a better place. That's what Girl Scouts of the USA has been doing for 100 years.
Did you know the Gold Award is Girl Scouting's highest honor? This year, a record number of 121 Nassau County girls were recognized for their outstanding community action projects. I'm County Executive Ed Mangano. Congratulations.
Support Girl Scouts of the USA. Call your local council today.
Yes, ready. Go get it.
Oh, come on, Randy. Animal shelter, here I come. And no, I'm not crazy or emotionally damaged. That's a stereotype. I just belong to a total loser. I'm a good dog. So if you want a pet, adopt. And if you see Randy, tell him he dropped his wallet.
Don't miss Long Island.
Shots of Smithtown Town Hall right there on Main Street. And we're here with Smithtown Supervisor Patrick Vecchio. A lot of history in Smithtown.
Sure is. It's established in 1665. And I must tell the viewers, I wasn't there then.
You weren't there. Sometimes it probably feels that way.
Right.
But of course, you've got that great the story of Smith riding on that bull,
Yeah.
working a deal out with the local Native American tribes to form Smithtown.
Yeah, he was Smithtown's first politician, right?
That's
Yeah,
right.
okay.
There's still some Smiths that
Oh,
are
yes,
in
there
the
are.
town of Smithtown
Absolutely, yes.
that go back to the founder
Yes,
of
yes.
your town.
Yes.
So what is it about Smithtown that makes it so special? Your town, it's a beautiful town. You've got some of the most affluent areas and affluent people living in Smithtown. A lot of people don't even know where they are because they're up in that northern part of the town, right on the Long
Yeah.
Island Sound. And of course, a big part of it was developed after World War II as veterans
Correct.
moved out there
Sure.
in the 50s and 60s.
Well,
and
you know, I always
70s.
say that we in the office like to take credit for when something is going good. I think it's the people of Smithtown that make it a great town. I really do. They care about their communities, and they're proud, and they evince that all of the time. And that's kind of is the word epidemic. Everybody gets that feeling, and so I think that's why it is such a good town.
So what's been the secret to your success? You've been in office longer than any supervisor ever in New York State history. It's not an easy job.
No.
You're always out there balancing the competing interests, balancing budgets. You know, things change. Developers want to come in and take a farm and build houses.
Yeah,
And everybody wants to maintain, the status quo. But you've been successful in navigating through that.
Well, I don't know. I think that listen, the people are very sophisticated. I think if they observe that those in office are doing a good job, then they will continue to elect that person. I mean, Mario Cuomo once said that if you don't blow your own horn, there's no music.
Right.
Well, I don't want to blow my own horn, but over the years we've done some good things, and what evolved has evolved.
Well, Smithtown is always known as having this incredible recreation program in the
Yes.
summer.
Yeah.
I mean, as a kid, I used to go there, up there from Babylon to go play basketball in the summer because it was just that good.
Yes,
It was the
true.
best. And you're very much a suburban residential town, but you have these very beautiful communities there.
Yeah.
So you've been able to maintain that in a way that I think a lot of other areas have struggled.
Well, we have. And what is the reason for that? I think I said that earlier.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about some of the challenges. You got there's some stories in the paper about the town of Babylon having, they had selected a new garbage
Yes.
carter. They had been
Yep,
serving
yep.
Smithtown collecting paper and whatnot. And then a story broke that that your town found out that they were stealing these recyclables and not paying you for them, paying the town for them. And that's been under active investigation by the district attorney.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, we have a very good recycling program, but I want to go back before we lead into that.
Yeah.
I want to talk about what goes into a budget, and it'll lead into what you're talking about. Mandates from the state. One mandate is that you must recycle,
Right.
which is a noble idea and a good idea. It costs us $3 million to recycle, but we only receive $1 million in revenue.
Okay.
And so now getting to your, we have a very excellent public safety department, which does many aspects of police work. And one of them is to monitor garbage carters. And it was that public safety department that discovered this one carter was diverting a truck or two of cardboard and paper.
Which is expensive.
Yes, it is. It's a high price
It's a
today.
high-priced
Yes,
recyclable.
correct. Now, this year, 3 years ago, you couldn't get 20 bucks a ton for it.
It's the nature of the market.
But in any event, once that a discovery was made, the public safety director thought it was best to give it over to the district attorney because our resources were limited. We could not conduct the kinds of surveillances that we needed to do. And so, we lost some money over a year or two, but it's now been stopped, and we're doing well.
Right. And I'm sure they're going to be, I don't know how it was resolved, but they're paying a fine and of course being prosecuted by the law. And in the case of Babylon, actually pulled their contract because they were so
Well, they
concerned
may
about
lose
the
their
integrity.
license, and there'll be a hearing and so forth.
Okay. What about Kings Park? Every time you and I do this show, I ask you what's
Yes.
happening in Kings Park. I think it's one of the great opportunities in your
Yes.
town.
Yes.
And it's the old psychiatric hospital.
Right. Well, I will tell you an anecdote. A lady came to see me in 1992, and she had a son with her. He was 2 years old. And she asked me, what will happen in Kings Park? And I said, ma'am, how old is your son? She said, 2 years old. I said, he'll be in college by the time you see a shovel in the ground. That was 1992. There is still no shovel in the ground. We always have to remember, it is owned by the state of New York. So they will call the shot, even though we will try to have some impact on what the state will want to do. But the townsfolk see it as an opportunity, all different kinds of, I'll leave it as open space, recreation, limited development, and then we always have to be guarded that some developer doesn't come in, make a great offer to the state of New York, and suddenly we'll have an intense development that we could not sustain.
So you're monitoring, I know they're tearing down some buildings. Senator Flanagan got some money in the budget to have them demolished, some dangerous buildings.
Senator Flanagan procured, I think, 23 or 25 million under Governor Pataki's administration. It has been lying there, and the Parks Commission decided they would use some of that money to take down some of the buildings. So it's 14 currently. Hopefully they'll finish shortly. What their plans after that have not been revealed.
Okay, well, when they finally come up with a plan and you're in a position to talk about it, we will have you back. That's for sure. Okay, after this break, we're going to do Bet You Didn't Know these things about Supervisor Pat Vecchio. We'll have some fun with the supervisor and give you a chance to learn more about him after this thing.
Don't miss Long Island's most popular holiday light show. Now in its 9th dazzling year, it's the family event of the season. Drive through a wooded trail bursting with stunning light displays. Warm up at the Holiday Village, where you can meet Santa and visit the Hall of Trees. Girl Scouts of Suffolk County's Holiday Light Show in Bayport, November 29th through December 30th. For more information, visit holidaylightshow.org.
Pronto of Long Island is a diverse community-based organization serving the areas of Bayshore, Brentwood, Central Islip, and neighboring communities of Hempstead to Massac Shirley. Pronto provides free food through its pantry and gently used clothing and household goods through its thrift shop and warehouse. Pronto also offers a multitude of other community services. For more information on volunteering, donations, or services, please call 631-231-8290.
Life's funny. I never thought I'd end up at a shelter. But then again, neither did you. Life's funny. I'm afraid to open my eyes. I'm afraid yesterday was all a dream. And I'll wake up and still be in the shelter. 1, 2, 3.
That's right. It's the Bet You Didn't Know edition of this show with Supervisor Pat Vecchio. Supervisor Vecchio, I know you know this, but I'm sure most people don't realize that you were a former New York City Police Department member, retiring as detective sergeant, and you were the bodyguard for Mayor John Lindsay.
Well, we like to say security.
Security.
Right.
Well, back then it was security for Mayor Lindsay. Ever have a situation where you had to deal with some little dangerous
there
stuff?
were 2 or 3, yes. Totally dangerous, no, but to use the vernacular, hairy situations.
Hairy situations.
Yeah.
Now, people don't know that you were also you're also an athlete. Well, they may know that because you're in pretty good shape. But you got a scholarship from St. John's, and you won the Golden Gloves in the 160 weight class.
Yes. So well, I didn't win the championship. I only one fight.
But okay, so you were pretty tough.
I don't know about that. I was.
You could handle yourself.
I guess, yes.
So right now, I'm thinking the mayor walks around like he's the president of the United States with all the security.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Lindsay didn't operate that way.
No, one person.
One person.
Yeah.
Walked the streets of New York.
Walked the streets
from
of
Harlem to downtown, from Queens up to the Bronx.
Bedford-Stuyvesant, South Jamaica, all of it.
And you were his guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Here's the third thing. Do you have email?
We do have email.
No, but do you? I understand you don't have email.
No, I don't.
And you don't communicate with your staff through email.
No.
Why?
I don't like email because I don't think there ought to be a permanent record of anything you do.
Well, that's because of your police training. But isn't it
right?
better?
Okay.
That's because you've been around. But there's also the fact that you prefer conversation with somebody.
I do. It's easier to pick up a phone and let the other side know what you're doing or what you want done or what your feelings are.
Okay, so here are the 3 things we've learned. Former New York City Police Department, retired as a detective sergeant. You were security for Mayor John Lindsay.
Yes.
The second thing is you're an athlete. Scholarship to St. John's. Did you play baseball with Mario Cuomo?
I did, not a long time, because Mario didn't make the team.
He didn't make that. I'm not even going to repeat that.
Okay.
And of course, your email is something for somebody else. You want to talk to somebody.
Yes.
You want to communicate with somebody you talk to.
By the way, the Secretary of Homeland Security refuses to use email for kind of the same reason I just gave you.
You're not the only one.
No.
Charles Wong from Computer Associates never used email either. Because he felt you got to go out and talk to people. You talk to them. All right, let's talk about one other thing that's coming up. I picked up the paper and saw that the Hess Corporation wants to build a gas station.
Yeah.
You've been through a lot of hearings involving gas stations. The residents in Comac, a lot of them who came out, aren't happy. Your thoughts about that?
Well, it was interesting. That same application had been turned down 2 years previous.
So what's different about this one?
Well, a new member came on the board. The applicant tried it once again. It passed. And now they're before the zoning board to obtain 17 variances, which is mind-boggling. It seems to me if you buy a piece of property, you ought to know what you could do with it without having to change codes and get relief, if you will.
Well, typically what happens in a zoning, those issues surface, and you tell them you got to go to the zoning board, but
Sure.
17 is like,
17.
those are a lot.
Yeah.
More than you heard during the rezoning hearing?
Oh, well, we did not hear anything about variances.
Okay.
No, just the fact that they wanted to change to accommodate what they wanted to do. They bought a piece of residential property, and that was the zone change, which will allow them to expand the gas station from 2 or 3 pumps to 7 or 8 pumps,
Right.
plus a convenience store.
An upgrade for the convenience.
Apparently, gasoline companies no longer build just standalone gas stations. They must have convenience stores to be profitable.
Those things are gone, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they seem to make a lot of money on their oil sales, gasoline sales, at least according to the Wall Street reports. But I guess locally, it's the retail business.
Yeah, I
that
think it's
says
a convenience store that's the big profit.
That makes the money. So, what else is going on in Smithtown that we need to know?
Not very much, and I always like to think that we go through uneventful times. There'll be occasional rezoning or other kind of a hearing that will generate a lot of anguish. And that happens, and you know that in your business also when you're in politics. So it has to be dealt with. And hopefully it gets dealt with in a fair way and everyone becomes out of it whole.
Well, you know what? At the end of the day, as you know, property owners have rights. The residents have a right to be heard about what they think about it.
Yep.
A zoning change is one of the most powerful responsibilities of a town. You're responsible for zoning and planning. The state of New York isn't, the county isn't. That rests with the towns.
Well, I think that you just said it. Producing a budget and zoning powers are the 2 most important functions of a town board.
And for the years that you've been doing it, you've been able to balance those competing interests pretty successfully.
Well, we lose some battles and you win others, so it kind of balances out.
All right, Supervisor Vecchio, thanks so much for being here with us. We'll have to have you back here again soon. And that's going to do it for this edition of MTL. I'm Pat Halpin, once again helping you meet the leaders.
You find a home. I hope you find a home. Hey, maybe you'll be picked next. Maybe you'll be picked next. We've been caged together too long. We've been caged together too long. How come nobody ever picks me? Maybe they're looking for somebody different. Pick me. Well, the shelter's closing up for another day. We didn't get picked. I know. Tomorrow. Guaranteed.
Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Christy. Please join us on Veterans Day weekend in Riverhead Town Center for the 3rd annual 24-hour endurance run and fun walk.
All proceeds go to Suffolk County United Veterans, an organization dedicated to helping the many homeless veterans in Suffolk County.
Battle it out in the Tough Guy Challenges to honor my late husband, James Lundeen, killed in action 5 years ago.
Come on down to the riverfront.
Visit our website for more information.
Building girls of courage, confidence, and character who make the world a better place. That's what Girl Scouts of the USA has been doing for 100 years.
Did you know the Gold Award is Girl Scouting's highest honor? This year, a record number of 121 Nassau County girls were recognized for their outstanding community action projects. I'm County Executive Ed Mangano. Congratulations.
Support Girl Scouts of the USA. Call your local council today.